What's happening everyone, TomGorian here and welcome back to episode number 7 of the F1 23 Haas to Glory. This is the series where we take Haas from a struggling midfield team and we make them all the way towards Constructors' Champions. And we're still very far away from that. Check out the previous video in the link in the description, follow the playlist and also subscribe for more F1 23 career mode content. So we come off the previous video in the Spanish Grand Prix from a very decent 6th place. We've officially upgraded towards Ultimate Difficulty and now we should experience some more challenge later on in the second half of this career mode series. So we're beginning this video with the tyre blankets upgrade because the Haas is one of the worst cars when it comes to tyre wear and we need to start doing some tyre wear upgrades if we want any chances of making the softer compound strategies work on F1 23. As you can see, the tyre blankets are on and now we're going to try and get the roll dampers upgrades on. But we're also thinking about just trying to get some weight rear distribution upgrades with the fuel tank positioning. That is a major upgrade and that will cost us just over 1,400 resource points. But yeah, there's not that, the gap between Spain and Canada is not that big as we now enter a department event. The team is looking to grow our brand and they would like my input as far as how we should tackle this between charity, interviews and also social media. I pick the interview because I think the interviews is pretty much the best option as far as that upgrade and department is concerned. So we enter Canada, a very good track of mine, and let's see what we can do in qualifying. So let's get this video started with this Canadian qualifying. Just a quick mention, Dynamic Racing Line is back on for the remainder of this season, just simply because I just can't be arsed doing every single race this season, trying to learn no line, whilst also competing in league racing as well. So that's why Line is back on. But let's talk about this track. I really do love this track, even though there are some changes I have, felt with this track in this game, and you might have noticed it as well. It seems to me like the chicane is slightly more early when it comes to braking. It's definitely does catch you out just a little bit, but this track is just so much fun to drive on this year's game. So now we're entering the final stages of qualifying, and let's see what I can do from 7th place. As you can see, Gasly and also Ocon and Zhou Guanyu are literally the cars that we're trying to beat as we enter literally the second chicane, and we're going to end Sector 1. Perez literally sets a 10.2, but we have gone purple Sector 1, so this could be a good lap so far. So literally, as you can see, we are 2 times up, but with this lap, I wasn't really focused on the delta. But as you can see, we are 2 times up right now, and we're slowly losing time. The exit really didn't do us any favours as we come in towards the hairpin. And as you can see, we go a little bit wide, and there is all the time gone. And this is the first time that I've actually saw the delta. And yeah, just to know that we were literally 2 times up, and the reason why we're not going to improve as much is simply because of the hairpin and also exiting the chicane. We take a little bit too much curb there and we gain, well, we don't really gain time, we literally lose half a tenth. And as you can see, yeah, we literally only improve by half a tenth, and that's very frustrating considering that we could have literally been 3 tenths, maybe even 4 tenths quicker on the last lap. But it's literally going to be P9 for the start of this Canadian Grand Prix. But yeah, we just didn't have the pace to try and compete today, not compared to like Sergio and the Red Bulls and stuff. But yeah, it's a very disappointing way to finish qualifying, and as you can see, yeah, Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, they're doing 10.2s, 10.3s, 10.4s, and there's us doing a 10.8, but it's all to play for as we head into the race.
It is the second largest French-speaking city in the world and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. Welcome to Montreal. 2.7 mile circuit, peaking at around 190 miles per hour. It's basically a series of chicanes and hairpins. We do have DRS zones, officially 14 turns, tight corners, and a real challenge for the drivers. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Russell, Thomas, Ocon, Stroll, Magnussen, Joe, Norris, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Albon, Verstappen, Bottas, Sargent, and Nick de Vries. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. With me today, of course, is Natalie Pinkham. Let's talk about Thomas. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within the team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do. And that has definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
So Natalie is kind of right. We are really enjoying doing this season with the performances that we've had. It's a shame that Kevin hasn't really been pulling his weight on his side of the garage, but as far as us, we've literally had 2 wins, and we've had some very decent performances this season after Saudi Arabia, of course. But you might have noticed that there is some rain for this race. As you can see, in the second half of this race, apparently, there is going to be rain. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hold out on the hard tyres so that when the rain does come, and as you can see, look at the hard tyre stint compared to where the rain is scheduled to come. It's literally after our scheduled stop. So what I'm thinking is, if we can just hold out on the hards until the rain comes, that could be a massive advantage for us, because we are going to make literally one less stop, and the only stop that we're going to be making is really the hards to the intermediates, and then it's going to dry out at the last stage of the race. So if we can just hold out from literally doing from the hards to the mediums, and instead of that doing hards to inters, and then if the track gets dry enough to the point where we're going to be literally on the soft tyres at the end of the race, that could be a massive advantage for us. But that's not a perfect strategy. You know, we don't have perfect accuracy on this strategy. So hopefully the one stop is what we're going to do.
Here we go then. The formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
So getting ready for the Canadian Grand Prix, bit of an underwhelming qualifying session from the Haas boys, starting literally from now just under the top 10, and Kevin Magnussen outside of the top 10. But thanks to grid penalties, anything can happen here in Canada. Rain is coming, so hopefully the one-stop strategy can work as we get ready for the Canadian Grand Prix here in F123 Haas to Glory. It's lights out and away we go on the hard tyres, and we've got a decent launch there as we enter turn 1. We're going to try and mug off George Russell and also Lewis Hamilton around the outside in towards 1 and 2, and we make contact with the 7-time world champion as we go side by side, wheel to wheel in towards turn 3. Hamilton does love this circuit, so if we can try and get on the outside of him, that would be a massive advantage as we go around the outside of both Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton, and we achieve 5th place here at the Canadian Grand Prix. It's a good start from us, but now we have to try and hold on from Lewis Hamilton. As you can see, he has so much straight line speed in that Mercedes compared to us. We do have the better engine, but as it's just aerodynamics and just chassis that we have the problem with. And this stage of the race, we're going to try and keep him behind you'll notice how we've literally just cut from the first lap all the way towards lap 5. Literally nothing happened as Lewis Hamilton comes back down the inside in towards the final chicane. And yeah, nothing really happened. Yeah, we were just in no man's land, and just Alonso, both Ferraris and Sergio Perez were extending the gap. But as you can see, lap 6, and we're going to try and re-overtake Lewis Hamilton in towards the chicane. And the fact that we're competing against Lewis Hamilton and we're literally ahead of George Russell at this stage in the race, that's very interesting. But as you can see, lap 8, look at the clouds. It's getting darker, so the rain is coming earlier than expected, and that's not good for us, as there's a yellow flag, and I believe that is a Alpine of Esteban Ocon. He's got an engine issue, and that is him out of this race. But lap 9, and we're slowly but surely starting to close the margins to Leclerc and also maintain the gap to Hamilton behind. But Ocon is still there, and that is not a safety car. I thought that might have been a safety car in this race. But yeah, literally lap 12. Yeah, nothing's really happening as far as overtakes. We're just slowly but surely moderating the gap towards Hamilton, and now light rain is here, so it's quite early on in this race, more earlier than we would have expected. Sainz is in, he's on the soft tyres, but that first stop is going to be the downfall of Carlos Sainz, as we're going to box for the intermediates. And as you can see, the track is starting to get damp and we are on the hard tyres, so let's see if we can try and get an undercut on Sainz, Leclerc, Perez, Alonso, and if we can, we could win this race. So this strategy is now depending on how effective the intermediate tyres go for us. 2.3 second stop time, perfect optimal time. Now, let's see where we are. We've got a massive gap towards Zhou Guanyu and also Pierre Gasly, and we've also got Lando Norris and Kevin Magnussen ahead of us. But Magnussen and Norris, they both box, and now this is where the race can be won or lost. Can we somehow get on the podium? As you can see, the gap between me and George Russell is under 4 seconds. DRS is now disabled, and now that is now played massively into our hands. As you can see, Charles Leclerc is in, George Russell, he's also in, and I think Carlos Sainz has stayed out. So now we have the advantage. So that's Perez, Sainz has stayed out, Alonso is in, Leclerc's in, there's Perez, as you can see, he's just there, and we've actually undercut Alonso, Leclerc, and now we are effective P2 in this race, because Sainz literally stayed out, and now Sainz is in, and now he has lost a ton of positions in this race in Canada. So as you can see, Alonso trying to go on the inside in towards this chicane. Yeah, it's not really an overtaking position, but I have to be honest, this car, literally on the first 3, 4, 5 laps in these conditions, felt absolutely awful to drive. And I don't really know why this car felt awful. It's so unpredictable, and it's not really consistent as far as front end grip, rear grip, and as you can see, I'm just struggling with understeer in slow speed corners. And as you can see, just the apex right there, just lose the back end, and the back end's just really just snapping everywhere, and it's just a very frustrating period to drive as we're going to try and go around the outside of Fernando Alonso, but we're just struggling with understeer. We're struggling with oversteer, and just the back end is just so predictable. But yeah, I think the reason why is simply because this setup is just a dry setup, as we absolutely send it on Fernando Alonso. That's a very Max, Verstappen-esque overtake there in towards the hairpin. But as you can see, literally Verstappen is behind us. But yeah, it's very hard to try and keep Fernando behind in these conditions, considering that the car, rearwards, the car is absolutely horrific to drive. And yeah, there's a sign of it. We just lose the back end there. We're going to try and overtake Alonso as Leclerc tries to go around the outside. We're going to go on the inside of Fernando Alonso, but as you can see, look at the rear of our car. We're snapping and we're trying to fight it. And yeah, this is just a very frustrating period in the race, because we can't turn a corner without the back end just snapping and just trying to counter steer it. And as you can see, Alonso gets by, and as you can see, look at the gap between us and Sergio Perez in this race. 18 seconds. That's the gap between us and the Red Bull. And on 103 or 102 difficulty in these conditions, yeah, the rain, yeah, this car does not feel good. It felt, in my opinion, out of all the races that I've done so far in this career mode series, this race would have to be the worst as far as how the car handled, how the car felt in these conditions. And it's clear that we still need to do a lot of aerodynamic upgrades. And I think it's just mostly, you know, just a setup issue, because we set up our car for a dry race, and unfortunately with the rain coming down, the car just felt really bad. But as you can see, entering the final lap here, and we've just kept all the cars behind us, but now we're soaking up massive pressure from Carlos Sainz as we enter the straight. Sergio Perez wins the Canadian Grand Prix, but that's not our focus right now. Carlos Sainz is our focus. We're going to try and weave back to the inside as we focus on this chicane. Can we nail the chicane for one final time? We nail it, perfection, but Sainz is going to be all over us. Who's going to win this drag race? It's going to be me first. Sainz across the line, and we just about get Carlos Sainz for a podium.
Yes, nice work, mate. You did a really good job today. Pretty sure the boss is going to be happy with that one.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Natalie, fill us in. What was it that helped the team achieve their success today?
Quite simply, a driver is nothing without the team behind them. So, a deserved winner, but we do have to give a shout out to the team in the pit lane and back at the factory. Very much a collaborative process.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They've performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Thank God that race is over, because the car felt really, really awful in the intermediate conditions, and the fact we were able to keep both Mercedes and also the Ferrari behind just shows that, you know, our pace is actually really good. And I think Kevin Magnussen also scored points. Yeah, that's a really good result. Another podium in this F1 23 Haas to Glory Drive Career Mode. Yeah, that's our third podium of the season and our first non-winning podium. But yeah, as you can see, look at the gaps between us, our best lap times, and Perez Alonso's best lap times. Yeah, 20 seconds towards the car ahead. We've still got a lot of work to do, but that's that for episode 7 of the Haas to Glory. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe for more F1 23 career mode and also F1 23 gameplay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. In a bit.